Let's get into the panel with Gemma Tonyini from GT Communications.
Hello.
Here on the desk with me, and over in the West, Caroline De Russo, Sky News host. Great to have you both on board. Before I hear from either of you, though, I want to set this topic up because a lot of people around the country won't be aware of it, and public servants in Victoria are getting a cash bonus. Have a look at this clip from Channel 7.
A cost of living crisis for some, a bonus for others. Public sector employees are set to pocket a special $5,600 payment to help with increased expenses, even those earning up to $240,000 a year.
It will help them pay bills and also provide, food for the table.
How do you like them Eds, Caroline? Everyone's feeling the cost of living crunch, but taxpayers have to shunt more money to state governments so they can give a bonus to their very securely employed public servants.
Precisely, and that's ultimately exactly what this is. And then the other problem is that this is the bit that people don't like to talk about, is that makes those who aren't on the public purse but who might be disadvantaged or otherwise suffering, it makes those people, those needy households, suffer for longer, because ultimately payments like this are highly inflationary. That money is not going to be saved. That money is going to be spent in the economy. So without any supply side changes, ultimately that adds to the demand within the economy. And we always talk about federal government spending and how that contributes to inflation. But, we've got state governments, and this is a perfect example of it, and Queensland, they could have won Olympic gold for the way that they are spending on these sorts of cash splashes. That also adds to inflation. So for those people who are really feeling the pinch, well, you get to feel the pinch for a bit longer.
Yeah, it's outrageous. It's irresponsible and reckless, isn't it? The Reserve Bank Governor, Michelle Bullock, was calling out government spending just the other week.
I think it's extraordinary also in the sense of Victoria's economy is broken, and that's not a political statement, that's a statement of fact. I mean, it was last week, I think Treasurer Tim Pallas was having to do all sorts of sort of weird gymnastics, economic gymnastics, to try and talk about how they were going to fund the health system without cutting, making further cuts. And there have been more reportage of cuts to the mental health programs in Victoria. It's not a healthy economy. It is not going in the right direction. And I don't understand. I guess the question would be, if I was a Victorian voter, where does it end? It doesn't end anywhere good. I famously said to Caroline years ago now, this will end up like the Kane Kearney years will look like the land of milk and honey by the time I was actually talking about Premier Andrews at the time, but he's made a break for it. But now this successive terms of Labor governments have run the state into the ground economically and in many other ways. I don't understand. I don't know where this ends for them, but this is just a nonsense decision.
It's more of this trend, I feel, with Labor, that their whole strategy is get as many people on the public payroll and in the big unions, and look after them, and that's their voting bloc.
But where does it go, right? Because ultimately...
Well, it's not sustainable.
No, ultimately the public sector will have to have massive reductions because it's cyclical. It's not like we've not seen how this story ends in the past.
Yeah. You need a private economy to fund all that. It's a dead-end road, but that's where they are at the moment. I can't quite believe it, that public sector workers getting a cost of living bonus.